So read, stuck on the block, read, sitting in the box, read. It calling a brethren. Alright, brethren, it's freezing outside. Let me tell you that right now. Man, I had to draw for the cardi and the woolly hat. Get me, fam. Anyway, where were we? This week's great read. It's so cold, man, even drew for the hot apple. Them ones there. Snowing and everything. Anyway, so by the time this episode goes out, it won't be when I recorded it. You might be watching this in like May or something thinking, why is he talking about how cold it is? No, I cannot go to the studio every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and record book reviews. Just in case people be wondering, yo, why is my man always wearing the same outfit in like 10 episodes? No, I gather all the books that I've read in a given space, and I try and, because I can't do one a week. I don't read one book every week for a start, and I can't be at the studio at 7 p.m. every Tuesday. So these are pre-recorded. Anyway, yeah, it's freezing outside. This one right here, this week's great read is Write Great Fiction, Plot and Structure by James Scott Bell. So for all you budding, aspiring writers of fiction out there, there's a really good series of books. I have read all three of them. They're called Write Great Fiction. One is plot and structure, one is description and setting, and one is about characters. This is my favourite of the three, most well written of the three. Oh no, there's a fourth, dialogue. I ain't got that one. I just looked on the back and it's like dialogue. They have really good exercises. So like man might want to kill me for dog-earing the pages, but I just ran out of plot notes, so I'd be dog-earing the pages on certain exercises. So it'd be giving you little exercises to do, things to think about, things to do and not to do when creating plot and structure. The hardest thing really to do in fiction is to get an original and interesting plot and structure down. I am not of the belief, I'm actually in the middle of writing a young adult fiction book set in Shakespearean, Elizabethan London and Venice, sort of magical realist kind of vibes as well. I don't believe in, though some people do, just writing blind. One thing he says in here that really struck me, one of the writers said, was you wouldn't attempt to make a building without a blueprint. And for me, some people maybe they're talented enough to do it, but for me, writing a book without a plan seems really, really absurd. So this is really great for getting a plan, for getting great exercises together, for thinking about original ways to plot and structure your book, filled with great quotes from loads of really, really successful writers. I don't know about you, but when I got midway through my first book, Natives, I had what I'm going to call the mid-book panic. It's like midlife crisis, but mid-book panic. But I now know every writer basically goes through this. But you're halfway through the book, you've done your first draft, and you read it back, and you're like, this is bollocks, it's crap, it's incoherent babble. Nonsense, I tell you! I'm at that about foolishness. So then I realised people like Philip Pullman and Stephen King and Toni Morrison and everybody else goes through the same process. The gods and goddesses of literature go through the same process where you get your first draft and you're just like, this is nonsense. How am I ever going to make sense of this? And this book helps you to understand that, because there's so many quotes from great writers talking about that process, and helps you to give yourself as good a scaffolding as possible to make sure that first draft is as tight as it possibly can be. Just little tips how to energize a lethargic middle. I'm just going to open on random bits. You can see my little, I don't always highlight. See what I do, let me give you a little tip. What I do when I'm reading a book, I go through one the first time, and I, in pen, put brackets around things that I think are really interesting. And it's only the second time, so you can tell I've only read this once, because it's only the second time I go through where I put in the highlighters. So you might see in some of the other videos there's highlighted things. So I do the pen thing, and I don't always read the entire book a second time. I just go and check all of the bits that I put in pen, and then the most important parts that are in pen, I add a highlight to, and they go in the official notes that get typed up. But yeah, so this week's great read for all of you aspiring novel writers, story writers, even rappers. Everyone out there wants to craft a story. Poets, everyone, is Write Great Fiction, Plot and Structure by James Scott Bell. Here you go. So read, stuck on the block, read, sitting in the box, read.